What's going on, everybody? We're live. This is 3D Printing Sunday, STL Sunday, formerly known as. And the whole point of this series is to jump into CAD or 3D design work, pick a project and kind of work through it, show you what I do or how I break down a project into multiple parts or multiple sections, whatever, just my thought process through it. This isn't necessarily a how-to on CAD, but just a little bit of an insight into what I do to tackle a project. Over the last few weeks, we've been working on multiple projects, little easy 3D printable deals. This one, again, like last week, I am all in on the Monthly Mayhem project. And Monthly Mayhem is all consuming, meaning that basically any time that I have is spent on that. And this week, if I do the stream, that's what it is. So we're back onto this. Last week we worked on this thing again, and or last week it was the first time we worked on it on the live stream, and we worked on some rear diffuser stuff. Now rear diffuser's not on, but the underpan is complete, front to rear. So the diffuser can go on here shortly as I finish up that part. That part's done though. What I need to work on this week though is a rear wing. I had one on there before, but it needed some work, so it came off after a crash. Now we're going to redo that. That's the whole thing. That's my spiel. Now we'll get into reading some of the comments, see who's in, who's checking in, what we're doing. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. These are obviously a little bit different stream than what we normally do, but if you guys aren't aware, if you're just catching this and maybe haven't seen previous videos, Monthly Mayhem is a series that Matt from the Scale Builders Guild and myself do, where we kind of go head to head at taking some sort of vehicle and doing something completely opposite to what it should do. This time we've got a TRX-6 and we're trying to make it go fast. So it's slammed and it's got an aero package and drag tires and wheels. That's a huge power inside, all the stupid stuff. Anything stupid you can imagine. That is the whole point though. Like I said, tonight though, I need a wing. It's going to be a just low off the deck wing, and that's going to be the point. So this is going to be one of those instances where I have an existing body, as you can see here, and I need to try and come up with how I want to design this to mount off of something existing. It's a little bit more difficult when you're doing that rather than just kind of designing a scale accessory in space where you don't have to worry about anything else. So I'm going to be kind of going through and trying to take some basic measurements, making sure that whatever I do will work with what we have. So again, thanks everybody for joining in. Missouri's checking in. We got Arizona, Phoenix, big old Wang. Yes, exactly. Oh, the over-engineered belly pan. Exactly. But you have to engineer these things properly over-engineered. What a way for me to ease into a Monday morning here in OZ, with a beer and tinkering with broken RCs from the weekend. Nice. Good evening. Tagged you in an Instagram post. I will try and see that. If I have recently posted and I get tagged, it will just disappear as soon as however many people have liked the photo. So I might not see it always. So I miss a lot of times being tagged. So if I do, I apologize. Minnesota. What's up, everybody? RCPT guy checking in. Thanks. A crash with what, Josh? Yeah. Now, the wing came off before the vehicle had crashed into me in a later day. So send me some Genos, Flatlander. Alaska. Yes. Thanks, everybody. Bidwell, Pennsylvania, New York, Long Island. All right. So let's switch over to the fun part. This is Fusion 360. This is my current model for this entire project. Now we're not going to continue to design on this model. We're going to just start from scratch since we don't need to worry about relationship with the rest of these items for the wing at least. But yeah, that's what we have going on so far with this thing. Yes, there is a lot of stuff going on this project. Are you going to post a monthly mayhem video a day later than Matt so you can get a day to beat his speed? Yeah, he dirty trick trying to post it 5 minutes before me. What? But then he still beat me by a mile per hour. So, that was he didn't even have to get tricky like that. We're gonna start a new document, new file. There we go. A clean fusion slate. Now here's the fun part. We've got to decide how we're going to take this existing truck, which obviously you guys aren't seeing now. It's just off screen up there. But I've got to start trying to pull some basic dimension, and I have to have an idea of what I'm actually going to design. So I'm going to first I'm going to Google some drag car aluminum wing. So dragging that down onto there. This is kind of like the style of wing that I want. Something just kind of off the deck. And of course it's slow loading this one. But and it's an actual install. That's a poor example. But anyway, just low off the deck, off the back, flat out the back. I don't need any lift or any downforce. I just wanted to kind of try and clean up the air. So, however functional it is or not, I think it'll look cool because that's the style I'm going for. And I need those style points. 3 miles an hour bonus for style points. And Matt hit 57. So yeah, and honestly, the gearing different. Like I hit almost the same speed on 3S that I did on 4S. So I've made some additional changes to the car, but that'll all get covered. I was trying to design things in Fusion and kept catching myself saying C for construction, L for line. And it's X for construction. Functional like NASCAR spoilers or all show wang. It's I think we're kind of going for the show route here. One thing I do like this style here with the struts. Oh, why do I keep clicking on the same? Evidently, this is the one I like because I just clicked on it twice, even though it's a crap website. Now the other thing, I did pick up some carbon fiber vinyl, so I can whatever I make, I can put some carbon fiber wrap on. Will be pop-ups, everything. So that's what we need. I think that we just need to start pulling some stuff together. But I wanted to give you guys an idea of what I was thinking and then go from there. So I'm going to start off right plane. That's kind of an arbitrary, but I'm going to kind of call this the center line. So I'm going to draw myself a basic profile of the back side of this truck. Without going too crazy, I'm just going to do some super fast sketching like this. And then we're going to start throwing some dimensions on it. So all of this stuff is just going to be 40. I'm going to say that it only sits in about 1 millimeter. Like a 6. None of these dimensions, like depending on how tight of a fit you're trying to get with some of this stuff, 20. You don't have to be crazy on how accurate you get. The other thing here is like what I just did is I'm measuring off of a single point. So if you measure from a single point on a body and then you keep measuring two items, you don't keep losing accuracy. You have one, because every time, if you just guess how far from this point to this point and say it's 3 inches, okay. And then if you guess from that point that you guessed to the next one, another dimension, well, you have two guesses in there. So you just keep stacking inaccuracy. But if you always measure from one point and you keep referencing from that, your datum, then you have you have a better chance of being more accurate, I should say. So it's about 10 millimeters in. This top part isn't critical. I'm just going to give it a quick dimension to define it. Something like that. And then we're just going to close that in so it can give us a solid. I'm going to go symmetric, and then the width. I think I'm just going to go to the width of the bed rails on this. Or I could go just inside of the bed rails. Let's do that. 153 millimeters. So we're going to go total distance up here on the top in this little click out, or the 153. So that is effectively the profile of the center section here, just inside of the bed rails all the way down. Yeah. Call it perpetuating an error. Yes. There's in machining you can call it stacking tolerances when you keep doing that. You have these stacking tolerances that every time it's like, oh well, this one's within tolerance, and this one's within tolerance, and this one's within tolerance, but by the end you're actually out of tolerance when you go all the way back to the beginning. Now, just because I don't like anything to be sharp edges, I'm going to put fillets on these because I want to. Lexan body, nothing's sharp. Even that actual straight ledge is a little too sharp, but it's fine. It's fine. All right. So now, what do we do? Where do we want to go from here? Okay, I'm going to say one thing I don't like is I just want this to, I don't like looking at just this section. So I'm going to just do something real quick. It's completely unnecessary, but we're going to do it anyway. L for line, X for construction. So but I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. Two reasons. So I'm going to say that this is like a 2 millimeter radius. We'll call it 1.5. Actually, we're going to turn that whole thing to a construction line. Then we're going to go back. We're just going to put an arc in at 90 degrees. So I'm doing, I'm creating this path is what I'm doing, just a 90-degree path, because I'm going to finish that. Actually going to start a new sketch here. We hit P for project so we can grab that whole profile. And then we're going to finish that. We're going to go up and we're going to use the sweep. I believe you could actually probably use revolve here as well, but we're going to select that, then do path and grab that and create the curve of the body. I'm going to do this as a new body for right now, just because I want to be able to mirror it easily and effectively. And I don't want to, sometimes you can lose, actually, just because we're going to select that and pull that out. 50, why not? But we're going to do a mirror quick of that body on the center. All right. So now at least we have something that kind of looks like the rear portion of this body. It's, I think it'll just, while it was unnecessary, I think it might give us a little bit of a better idea of, let's say 5 of how things are going to look. That's why I spent unnecessary time doing that. The only thing we're gonna do is we're also gonna fill in the bed. We're gonna say 10 millimeters down, but since this bed actually is dropped down, do an offset -5. There. Do you guys hate me for wasting your time watching me create the bed that isn't needed? So, sorry. Now we are going to start on the actual wing. I'm going to start with the, what do you call those? What are the sides of a wing called? It's not a side dam. It's not a canard. Why can't I think of what that's called? Someone remind me. So someone has to come up with this name quickly, because it's going to drive me insane if I don't remember. Winglet, is that right? That could be it. I could believe that. I could be led to believe that that was correct. Maybe that, and then maybe we go down to about, that body point that we were basing everything off of. So like I said, I don't want to try and follow the body exactly, because I did just a super basic job of kind of creating it. So my accuracy should not be depended on, which that's probably the words you should all live by, right? We're going to do that. Now, part of this, I can kind of want to be pretty close, and then I'll almost file to, fit to shape, just because I want it to have a pretty close look to the body. Now, how far back I want the wing to sit, that little sketch we did is just to get things started. I'm thinking, so I'm going to go back to full main screen for you. So on the back side of this thing right now, I've got the extension, and I suppose I can pick this thing up. So we've got the extension of the rear, what will be, the rear diffuser plates, all that stuff will be on there. And I think I want the wing to stick out at least that far, which that's just under 50 millimeters, maybe about 45 millimeters, 48. So I think we should go 60 millimeters. What do you guys think? That's about, it's about right here. It's just going to be flat, come just past the back. So 60 millimeters is my thinking. Hey, Jeremiah with the donation. Appreciate it. I'm at work sitting in a guard shack, bored out of my mind. This is the highlight of my night. Keep going till 11 p.m. my time. So we got 60 mil. Oh, oops. Now I'm saying 60 millimeter from an incorrect point. I was pulling that off of my original. So there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. From the top of the bed, I want it to stay pretty low. I think I only want to go like maybe 5 millimeters up, something like that. Let's see, this back angle. I think I'm going to put a radius on this, a 3 mil radius. So while that's 60, we shorten it up about 5. So let's go 65 so that we still get our 60 millimeters of total length after we do the radius. Per the WRC website, the ends of the spoiler are called end plates, so nothing special. Okay, I'm fine with that. That's an acceptable answer. Maybe I should do a live stream pains and grading paper. Oh, it's like the opposite of an ASMR video. It's just that watching like the paper just get destroyed by the teacher that you knew you did a shit job on, but you thought like somehow there's some way that maybe it was actually a good paper and you didn't remember. That's still like one of my reoccurring nightmares at my age right now is that I still wonder, like, did I actually graduate college? Like, I didn't go to my college graduation, but I feel like did I graduate? Like, I just felt like it was so unfinal that it just, like, I wish now that I would have gone to my college graduation just so I would have been like, for sure, like, okay, they let me walk across the stage. Even though I have the piece of paper, everything's, oh, oh. Still, it just gets me shaken from it. All right, so we're going to hit P for project so we can grab this line, and then we're going to make it parallel with that one, even though, like I said, my accuracy is questionable. Half a millimeter of tolerance is pretty decent. That gap's so small that, like, while we're in CAD, it looks big, but this, we're not going to make that. Let's do like a 60-degree angle on that. Start kind of laying it back a little. We got to define this angle. What's 35 look like? About that. We still need to lengthen that a little bit more then. I don't hate that. Now, if I cut this all on the CNC, I really can't have a radius smaller than 1.5 millimeters. So, an internal radius, that is. Just because I'm using a 1/8 inch bit, so that's a 1.5 something millimeter radius. So I'll do that. Yeah, well, yeah, it's close enough. Shouldn't be too much of a collision. Five there. Oops. see. Why did we lose our... seems to be close enough. I don't know why it's sometimes things show blue, but they seem to still be fully defined. I don't hate the way that that looks. Let's do an 1/8 inch, 0.125 inch. Oh, and I needed to make sure that was a new body, not a join. We're going to hit A for the appearance tab to pull up, and then I'm just going to drag a material onto it. That way you can see, it helps to see when you have a different material defined. If anything happens with bodies getting combined, the colors will all become uniform, and then you know that something was messed up. So you can see here, I've got the plan to inset the wing from the bed. Now, I could plan on dropping that down in there a little bit. We can go back, edit that sketch, and then let's just do let's add 4 millimeters of in, 8 there, and we'll put a radii. Do 3 millimeter radius there. Let's go to 2. So that'll give us a little bit of a hook around the inside of the bed. Something like that. I don't hate it. Just gonna do one thing though. For a little bit. Okay. So we have to decide how this is going to be constructed at the same time. Now, this would be something that would be 3D printable without any problem at this point with how we're doing it. But I may make a lot of this to work well with my router, because then I can cut them faster. Like I can cut something on the router in a minute and a half versus waiting several hours for a 3D print. So that's why I'll probably keep that in mind for this design. So I want to keep this surface clean off the level of the bed. I'm going to hit P for project, grab that surface. Then I can click that line and this one, use the collinear. Then, let's see, we're going to grab that point and this one, make them coincident. I'm using 1/8 inch on some of these things, like instead of metric, because I have 1/8 inch material here. I prefer the metric system, and I don't normally mix and match things like this. But but for what I'm doing, that's why you see me saying 1/8 inch for this, but then doing everything else in millimeters. It's just. Oh, there we go. We're going to do the coincident constraint, grab that point and this edge. Now I did those flat because I plan to cut this, so I'm not going to have chamfered cuts and all that. So take that section, and we will, we're just going to go to, what would that be? Can I take it to a plane? I should be able to. The YZ plane is the one that I want to extrude to. I don't know if it'll let me do that. Yep, it will. Okay. That's something that you do commonly in SolidWorks. It's not something I do all that commonly in Fusion. So the reason I'm just doing it to the midpoint then, because I can just design half of this and then mirror the component or mirror the bodies and get everything super dialed in. So here is something else that we can do for this type of construction that I'm looking at. We're going to turn on the visual style with shaded edges. Like this. We are going to, I'm going to hit P for project. We're going to grab that face for now, bring it over. I could have just done that instead of the visual styles at first, but whatever. L for line, X for construction. We're going to drag a midpoint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 holes on the side here. Hold on, we have, maybe you'll be right. Sound like the cats were going after it, but 3.2, close enough to 1/8 inch. We're gonna hit X. I'm gonna grab those 2, make them equal. Then I had that as construction. We're gonna turn that off. D. I'm gonna 8 millimeters in from to the center line. It's fine. You can see it kind of hides my, well, to fix that, we could just grab these 2 lines and hit, oh, I gotta edit that sketch again. There we go. So I turn those to construction. Now I can more easily grab those profiles without it hiding just that top little corner. But we're going to cut through the main body. This is going to end up being how we bolt this thing together. Now, 3mm material is too thin to actually like screw into with a 3mm screw. You'd have to use small hardware, and I don't really like doing that. So we're going to go to the top. I'm going to draw a couple of rectangles of generic length for now. Make sure that they're all at the edge. We'll do like 5 millimeters in. You'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Width, we're going to make these do 3.6 millimeters. Little bit of comfort room for a 3mm screw to go through. And again, this will make more sense in a hot minute. We're going to hit P for project, and we're going to grab the barrels of these 2 holes. We're going to use a construction line. Construction line again. We're going to go from the midpoint of that to the midpoint of that line we created. You may still have no idea what I'm doing, but we'll get there. So we've started the cut that we need. Now what we're going to do is we need to create a pocket for a 5.5 millimeter block nut. Or if I wanted to make this cleaner, while this would be the simplest, no, I'm going to change this. We're going to do it. Changing my mind already. Finish. Turn that off. Kill that one. We're going to go back and edit this sketch, and I'm going to alpha line, X for construct. We're going to put a couple of holes 4 millimeters under. 40 millimeters apart is fine. Okay, so I'm changing my mind. See, we'll got this here. Okay. We're going to put a couple of holes in the top. We need to, this is where I am going to turn on that visual style again. And we're going to put a couple of holes up top, making sure not to conflict with the ones that we just put in the side. Make sure that these are the same size. Define the size, 3.2. 4 millimeters off the edge to the center. We're going to do like, yeah, 15 there. And push this one to 40 to match what we did on the other. Should miss everything sufficiently. So my plan, visual style, is now what we're going to do is we're going to combine some 3D printing and my router. Slots would be much cleaner, plus it's not structural. What do you mean by, oh, you mean just like kind of slot and I just want the, I don't know. I think it'll be cleaner. A couple of screws on the outside I don't think will look bad. And rather that than see holes and everything coming through. So I think that is the reason that I want to go this route instead. 2.5, this is going to be a 3D printed part. So P for project, we're going to grab that whole thing. I'm also going to hide that body for a minute. Grab that. We're going to bring that down, -8. We're going to bring that whole thing out, 8 millimeters, new body. Let's throw a color on it. There we go. Let's do... Let's put a couple of holes through this thing. I need to grab those profiles. These little 3D printed parts will print in 20, 30 minutes for how small these things are. So it'll just give us a clean bracket to attach this thing with. Let's throw a chamfer on the inside. There. Let's do a small chamfer on this part just because I don't like super fine points on 3D printed parts either. Isolate. So there we go. Unisolate. Simple there. Now, one thing that we haven't done is we haven't figured out what kind of method we're going to use for attachment to the body. So, this thing, that part that we just started to 3D print, seems like the smart idea would be to integrate kind of a leg that comes down to help brace against the body that way and give us a couple of holes from the inside to attach to, right? One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that chamfer that we put on, just because depending on what changes, there's no reason to work around that. So I'm going to hide that body so we don't have to look at it for now. Since this part it's kind of hidden behind other things, we're not going to try and follow the body contour. Eight millimeters there. Let's bring this thing down 20. I made this a new body still just because we'll join it ourselves. Combine it, actually. So you can see it actually is exposed a bit from the body, but I think that'll be okay. We'll have a couple of pieces of hardware in there anyway, so it's not going to be, and it's not just going to have a blunt end like that anyway, so I'm not super concerned. We could actually kind of bring it down. I think I'm going to bring it down a little bit further, and we'll add some more style. But the reason I want to do that is I just want a little bit more support on this thing. And then we'll add some gusseting in there a little bit too. So line. Now you can see we covered up that top hole, but depending on the length of the screw we use, that's not really a big deal. I can always just make it longer too, or bring it further down, or adjust the position. None of it is all that critical. This is going to be a pass-through hole. I'm going to make that 3.2 because I'm going to add, I don't want to thread in from the inside into it. I want to put a screw through, and then I'll make a backing part on the body itself so we can really pull those things together. Six there. Seems like we have something weird happening with that. Let's just see if it'll allow us to. Feel like that. Something's weird with one of these circles. I can't tell which one it is. That one seemed to work. I'm just going to start over with this whole sketch because it's just not wanting to function. Hide the other things that are in the way. Could be because of that SERP. There we go. Now it's all working properly. Is fine. Get a little further up there. Something like that. Yeah. With that hole through the where it's intersecting there, we've got a bit of an issue with trying to chamfer. I'd have to add material the hard way, but I think we could do that too. Now the one thing is I don't want to add. Like I said, I want to be able to put a screw through here, so I don't want to add material that is going to not allow me to be able to access the hardware. That's something always to think about. It's just the access to the things that you're designing. Let's see. I don't love this part. It's very, very basic, but I also don't. It's going to kind of blend in quickly. So I don't know that I want to spend a ton of time on it otherwise. We'll throw a large 10mm radius in there, and I'll show you. And then we're going to do another cut, but I'll show you why. we're just so we've got that hole that we put in there. It's covered up right now. We can see it like by doing that, or we can bring it forward that way. But I'm going to just do a 6mm diameter cut. So that's about the head of a socket head screw. So that'll just give us the place for that to go in, but gave us the radius for a little bit of strength. Put a little one in here for cleaning things up. This, let's duplicate that. We're going to edit. Done. So there's our 3 different. So now we're going to do mirroring the bodies. Do that. Mirror plane will be the mid plane. Hit OK. Combine those two. That gives us a very simple drag wing, though. Now, one thing is that we only have them off the back, and while we do have this kind of hook set up in the front, I still feel like it'll want to pull down. So I feel like we should kind of extend this a little bit, and then I can hide a countersunk flathead screw from the inside into it, and then it'll give me one more point to add a piece on the inside. So I think we should do that. So let's take this forward a little bit more. Like we only have 8 up there now. Let's go to at least 12. So just add 4 more, 29. Need to select that feature. And we need to edit that lower part of that sketch as well, I guess. I had 8 there. That's where I need to add in the extra for 12. This would be 3.2. That. Now that will allow me to add some structure to the inside. So let's do that. Base it off the bed floor. Now I mean, we could go all the way across. I suppose for looks it would be best, wouldn't it? Actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to give myself a 0.5 millimeter of tolerance there. Something like that. Let's make sure we have at least one piece of hardware somewhere out there close. We'll do 5 across this thing because that is overkill enough. Equal those. Let's do 65. No, we'll make sure that one's on the midpoint. That will equally space everything. I have to do it with a line. That's a construction line. Now, I'm just going to mirror all these items except that center hole. Rotate it about that. I know I'm ignoring the chat, but go up 5 mil. It's good enough for there. New body. Make it the same color. Now, let's add something like that. We're just going to add a little bit of an area in the outside that will allow us to grab that screw hole or grab that part of the wing to create the structure of what we're trying to accomplish here. What is that? So -6. I need to make sure that that circle is actually a circle, obviously, for the threads. We can add we'll do some, do some like a 2mm chamfer on that. Let us maintain our strength, but $3mm chamfer across the front. Yeah. This stuff is super basic, but being 3D printed, it's all going to kind of just blend in anyway. Oops. Something like that. Need to make sure this one here is the one that I'm going to adjust. We had it at 65. We'll take it to 63. Give us a little bit more comfort room for the head of the screw. Now, the one thing I have it actually, let's go back to this one. I'm going to just hit X. I'm going to change this up a little bit. And that was here. So we're going to, I'm only going to do half of this. Even with that. That way I don't have to, because I just did all this work and I didn't do it as separate bodies. So now, you know. But now since I've got all that done, I can easily just do a mirror on the body at the mid plane and combine them. Now I've got all the work on both sides. It's starting to look like a hinge. Kind of, except I don't think that it would, I would have to make sure that there was so much clearance around the front, and I'm never going to need to hinge this thing. Like, it's just not in the right area, right? Yeah, I'm just, Josh is looking unhinged. Thanks. Yes, I know. Just headstrong into whatever I'm actually drawing. So the one thing that I do want to do is add or design an inside washer for this design. This is going to be fairly simple. So I say, we're going to grab that profile and now do I want to, yeah, I'm going to just do it as a threaded one. 2.5. Profile, offset it like a millimeter is all, just, and then we're going to make it, I'm going to do it like 6 mil thick. Gives us a decent amount of threads to bite into. Pretty sure there's nothing in that area of the body, so I don't have to worry about anything in there. Chamfers for style. Too much. Too much style. Go back. Why not, right? That's about it for that. I don't need to mirror this, but I'm going to just so that I can see how things. That is pretty simple. So that took us an hour. But that's how that goes. Now, I like the too much style. Too much style. Too much. Go back. No, no. All right. So this is basically all that there is to this. Now, from here, I need to actually cut this. So rather than just cut the video off right now so that I can go finish what I need to, I'm just going to go through the programming that I do. Let's, we're going to do model orientation. No, I'm going to select X, Y. X-axis is that direction. Y-axis is in the vertical. We're going to flip the X. We're going to select the origin off the bottom. Okay, that's how I want it. That's all fine. So here I'm just defining it's called the setup in Fusion 360, and that's what like your stock, your material is going to be. And then you know, so from what you can see, there's this little box around it. That's what it's calculating my material as. Obviously, I'll be cutting it out of a big sheet, but there's no reason to define all of that. So the first thing that I'll do is drill these 2 holes. I'm going to go in and say that I want to make sure that I offset the bottom head depth negative 0.25 millimeters. So it goes just a little bit deeper. I'm using 1/8 inch end mill, which is my kind of go-to right now. So we got that. Then I'm going to do a simple 2D contour. Select the bottom edge, same again, negative 0.25. Oh, feed rate, we're just gonna do this as aluminum, even though I'll do it out of ABS. More rigid than that expanded PVC foam that I have been using, but so then if you wanted to check it, you can select the full setup and hit simulate. Hit play. It'll show that it's going to drill first. And obviously there's a bunch of other parts in the way, but which I could have turned off, but I didn't. So so there's that first part. That one looks good to me. I'm going to save that out. Post-process. Oops. Right here, this is going to be wing, what was it called? End cap? Wing end cap. Hit post, save it to my NC folder, TRX6 wing end cap. Now, since both sides are the same, I only have to do that once, but I do need to do a new setup for the top plate. So we defined that. We need to define the orientation again, X, Y, select the X, top. Y is that direction. Flip the X, there we go. Need to set the origin. I select that as my top left corner on the table, or the top left corner of the model that I'm going to cut. And I do the 0 as the bed, so that's how I set things. I don't know, just the way I do it. I'm not sure that I'm positive that it's not the right way, but it's the way that I'm cutting parts. So get that. Oops. We're selecting that. Select same diameter hole, then it'll just auto select all 4 for me. Same, offset our bottom, negative 0.25. Hit OK. These are about as simple as a part gets. 4 holes. Done and done, right? Offset bottom, 5. Make sure that everything's defined. Hit OK. If I want, I'll turn everything else off. So that's basically the only part that we'll have. We can hit simulate. Drill the holes. I assure you it'll look, what's going on, Matt? Matt says, I will not be doing a wing like this. So that's about as basic as that gets, right? So we can go back to the design side. We can turn all of our bodies. Oh, wait. No, back to manufacture. I got to output this setup. Post-process. TRX6 wing. Okay, so that's done. Now the only thing that we have left to do is I need to export these bodies for 3D printing. Save as STL. TRX6 inner wing mount. On this one. Okay. TRX6 rear wing mount. The only thing I need left is that. TRX6 inner wing body washer. I did that. I did those. That's it. Psh. You guys just saw me run through that whole thing. I've been using Cura, but this new 3D printer I have has its own version of, it's basically just like a relay or rebrand it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, version of Cura. So I've been using it for now. I'm going to go back to regular Cura soon, but this new 3D printer is okay, but not great. I'm going to buy myself a Prusa before long. That. Let's see. Did I add anything that made this directional? I did not. Okay. So we need to duplicate those. Multiply 1. So that's ready to go. We're going to slice. How long is it going to say? An hour and 28 minutes. I bet you that it is 7:18 currently my time. I am going to save these files. We're good. Eject. I'm going to get this thing 3D printing. I'm going to go cut those parts. And I think that I'll have a wing on this truck by, well, it's an hour and a half, right? It said to print. So that puts me at 8:45, 9 o'clock. I'll have a wing on this truck. Wing plate missing the hole on the right side. Wait, what? Oh, God. Oh, wait. Did I do it off this side or the other side? Let's go to manufacturer. I did it off that side. Who just saved me time? Who was that? Where was it? Steve D. You're a gentleman and a scholar. You saved me time. I appreciate your... I very much appreciate that. Where was that? In this tree. Oops. We're gonna just, there it is. Edit. We're gonna just drag that all the way through. Make sure that it does both sides. Okay. So it did that. Now I need to go back to manufacture. So you can see how it made everything. Oh, you can't see anything. Going live at 9:30 for assembly. Could do Facebook Live. Maybe. I don't want to just keep, if you keep doing too many lives on YouTube, I feel like it would Grabbed that. Now we've got all three. So now we've got that. Let's repost that. End cap. Post. NC files. Thank you, Steve D. Much appreciated, sir. Oh, Darwin said it first. Oh, I said it. All right, you said it. Regardless, you're all very helpful when I actually read the comments. Nope, I'm still going to have it on there by whatever time I said, but because I'm going to be waiting on the 3D printed parts. Printing. All right. I'm never helpful. I swear we need a bell in that room to get his attention. I know. I need to figure out a way to make that happen. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Sorry for making you guys watch my other projects that aren't so helpful for exactly what we're doing. But regardless, I like these streams still. They're still fun. And it got me to do something. Arduino with a servo in the room. Thanks as always, guys. We'll see you, Monday? What's tomorrow? Tuesday for Scale News Update. Later.